What's going on, guys? Bonafide Hustler here. Jason?
That's me. Jason is here. Sorry, I thought we were going to Craig there. My bad. Jason is here.
Cleater, the Lego Kingpin. What's up?
And Craig Morris here.
All right. So, yep, that's Craig Morris from Naples, Florida. We have a guy from Nevada, right? We got Jason Clark from Nevada. We have Cleater. Cleater, where are you currently now?
I am at my office in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Okay, cool. So welcome to the Green Room Hangout. This is a Q4 all-star show, basically how to sell on Amazon in Q4. This is going to be a very interesting show because lots of things have changed since the last fourth quarter. In fact, lots of things have changed in the past 3 months. But I'm the Bonafide Hustler. I reside in Austin, Texas, and I flip stuff I find from garage sales, estate sales, yard sales, flea market, pawn shops, swap meets, big box stores, and I put on places like eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, my antique booth, and consignment stores in town. I'm one of the admins and co-founders of the Green Room University.com. I will toss it over to Jason Clark's intro.
Hey guys, Jason Clark here, born and raised in Las Vegas. I'm full-time Amazon FBA. I do a little bit of eBay, a lot of liquidation, a lot of wholesale, moving into private label.
Cool.
My name's Jonathan Cleater. I do Amazon FBA full-time as well. I'm basically do Amazon FBA 100%. I do liquidation. I do retail. I'm working on wholesale as well. And yeah, pretty much just sell as much stuff as I can as fast as I can.
All right.
And I'm Craig Morris, and I am full-time Amazon FBA like the rest, and I do almost all RA and OA. I'm still kind of hanging around while everybody else moves on to other stuff. I'm just doing those two things. So online and retail arbitrage primarily.
Cool. All right. So I've had the pleasure of meeting every one of these guys in real life at different, actually, no, I met you, Craig Morris, twice because you came to the meetup, but I saw you in Naples before that. I've seen Jason Clark twice already, maybe a third time here in a second when he comes to Austin, Texas. If he does, it'll be for like an hour, but I'm sure as hell going to film it because Jason Clark's that awesome. We also have, I've seen Cleater. Cleater came in town. I hustled with him at a Toys R Us Savers pawn shop. And then he came to the meetup as well. But anyway, these are the part of the Green Room all-star crew. If you go into the Green Room, you're going to know exactly who you're seeing on the screen right here. These are probably the biggest, these are the top dogs in the room. And we definitely value their membership and we value everything that they have to say. And every one of them contributes in a very, I wouldn't say weird manner, but they all like do different things. Some people do videos, some people do write-ups. Craig Morris, thank you for your recent videos because you're starting to jump on the video bandwagon. Jason Clark, I really wish you would do more videos, Jason, because you hardly ever do them. It's an inside joke. Jason probably puts the most videos out of any one of them. They're short but very motivational type videos in the Green Room. And then we have Jonathan Cleater right here, who is best known for warehouse. I mean, just you are crazy, man. Like we heard about your numbers back in the meetup. We won't talk about them right now, but you also took Resale Rabbit under your wing, kind of showed him your operation, correct? And now Resale Rabbit is mimicking parts of what you do, plus he's opening his own brick and mortar store in Green Bay, correct?
He is. He opens Monday, I believe.
Cool. So he definitely saw your operation and he was just like very inspired by it. But anyway, so, Green Room is family. Green Room helps each other out. And we do have 118 people watching this show. So very first thing we do on a Green Room Hangout is we do the audio check. So I'm going to have to go into the feed and make sure that we sound good. There's probably going to be one more person joining the Hangout randomly. People might be asking, where's Rakin? Rakin is at a wiffle ball bat game. No, a softball pickup game, something like that. And so it was raining the other day. They had to postpone it to tonight. So I will be on the show. You can ask any one of these questions periodically. We're going to go into the feed multiple times within the show. While I have you guys here, I do want to remind you guys about two things out there. One is get the free guide down below. Very, very important. The other one is once the link is active. I didn't put the link in there. Oops. The Green Room, greenroomuniversity.com/get notified. We'll let you know about the Green Room Summit. And the Green Room Summit is happening 3 days in January. It's a virtual summit. That means you don't have to go anywhere outside of the comfort of your own home. And you can watch the summit live or you can watch it after the fact. But to get on the list, to get the most amazing early bird special, all that kind of stuff, greenroomuniversity.com/get notified. All right, so how do I sound? Let's take a look. They're laughing at the wiffle ball comment. I guess we sound good. I have sound checked with you guys before the show, so it sounds like we're good. We're going to jump right into the show, guys. And the purpose of the show is to really discuss Amazon, the changes, what the big dogs are doing, for fourth quarter, how they're preparing, how they're going to kind of attack this fourth quarter being different than last fourth quarter. So anyway, we've already introduced the panel. Everyone kind of is acclimated to who's on the screen now. And I'm going to start with Cleater. Hey, Cleater, how has FBA changed from 2015 to 2016? And how did this change impact your business?
Well, I probably should add the caveat that I sent my first retail arbitrage shipment, basically a shipment that was not books, in November of 2015. So my familiarity with how the market was then is not extreme. However, I have a couple friendships with a couple sellers who kind of give me an idea, what the market was like back then. And each year, I mean, as you can expect, it gets harder. There's more people. And I certainly do take a very positive view, as I'm sure Jason Clark would encourage me in one of his morning videos, that you just have to kill it and get on it. But I think realism is accepting that it is getting harder. The restrictions are making me more skeptical about buying certain brands. And, you adapt to that. Like, I've seen a spike in sales in a couple brands that I couldn't sell previously. And, that I can sell and that a lot of people can't sell. So, there's the good with the bad. I expect that'll continue, that cycle will continue, especially in Q4. I think we'll see a lot more competition. I think that you'll have to really have the mindset of looking, don't just look at the baseball bats and the balls, look for the, the thread to redo the gloves, the accessories that most people aren't looking for. But overall, I would say that there's just a lot more people playing the game, and Amazon is getting a lot more restrictive.
Okay, so let's hear it from the motivator man himself. You played in last year's Q4, Jason Clark. How has it changed, or how has FBA changed from 2015 to 2016 so far, and how did this change impact your business particularly?
I think Jonathan touched on the restrictions recently. I think obviously the platform keeps growing, and that's a good thing. That means it's a good platform. But it is a little more challenging to get through some hoops that Amazon's thrown through. And I personally think that's a good thing, because if you're jumping into this business, the harder it is to get through. Once you get through, you just have that level up, and it's just gonna be that much harder for your competition to get in there. So that really stuns a lot of people when they can't just walk in and sell a product or sell a category. And I understand, I feel the pain. I had to get ungated in certain things last year, and it was definitely a lot easier. But you have to make that decision if you want to push through or not. Do you want to be able to sell 50% of the products out there like everybody can sell, where it's going to be inundated with sellers, or do you want to be able to sell in those other 50% of the categories that would really make it easy for you to scale up and really put you above the best? So put out a video. Do you want to be do you want to be 1%, or do you want to be 99%? You want to be in the top 1%. So you've got to put in the effort, and it's not supposed to be easy. If you think it's supposed to be easy, I'm sorry, it's not. Nothing good is easy. So but the opportunity is huge. The opportunity is there, and anybody can do this. So I think it's going to be a great year for anybody who wants to make it a great year.
Cool. Very good. Before we get to Craig Morris on his response, I do want to get into the feed and ask you guys in the question, who here plays in Q4 with FBA, whether it be toys, games, electronics, all that kind of stuff? Who has played the Q4 game? I just want to know. Second question is, I always want to know this, like who is our furthest reach today on the Hangout? I think last Hangout, someone came in from Italy, by the way, just so you guys know. Italy was in Ireland. So those are pretty far reaches right there. But I want to know where you guys are from, and are you playing in this Q4? Did you play in last Q4? So Craig Morris, how has the business changed for you? You are like, to me, I mean, you are like a retail arbitrage beast. I know I've heard your operation. I've basically witnessed through your pictures and through our talks. Like, you go pretty crazy when it comes to big box stores and stuff like that. So how has FBA changed from 2015 to 2016 so far, and how did this change impact your business, Craig?
Well, for us, instead of getting caught up with all of the just this idea of, oh, I can't sell this category and can't sell this category. If certain things came up that we were restricted on, I'd put in my request. If I got approved, I got approved. If not, I didn't worry about it. And so we've just we've narrowed our focus, because we have certain things that we're ungated in that no one else is in. So that's where we're putting our effort, because we know we're going to have less competition. And so with I guess that's the big thing for us is we're going maybe a little bit deeper in some areas and a little less wide than last year, just because we want to take advantage of things that we're ungated and things that we're able to sell. And I think what Jason said, like, he's been able to sell certain things, for higher than, as people are selling out. And so as those things are niche, and exactly, I don't remember. But you know, just that we have this opportunity to sell products against a lot less competitors. So we started to hone in on those categories that are restricted for other people.
Okay. Real quick, I have you still talking, Craig Morris. What is behind you? Is this part of your operation that we're looking at, the tables and everything?
This is our setup. There's no bolos inside. It's just diapers for my son back there. But yeah, this is our setup. We've got 3 rows of tables, and we got some Amazon returns that I have to process back there, and kind of go around. We've got that's our prep center over there and everything that we have. So this is all out of our garage. So this is my 3rd Q4 and the first time I actually have a real setup. The first year we were in a 2-bedroom condo. Last year we were in a hotel room, and this year I have a real garage. So I'm stoked. It's so much fun to have in this space. Oh
my gosh, Cleater, how clean is that guy's like office space? Look at his working space. That's pretty clean, right?
I've had a garage maybe twice in my life, and it's never looked like that. So,
Jason, I saw a picture of your workspace today. It's a garage as well, with like double table set up from the front to the back, correct?
Yeah, I've got a couple of shelving there, which I may end up pulling out, but I got a double table set up, one in the far left corner, one in the far back. So I've got 4 tables, but it's a 1-car garage. It's not as big as Craig. So as you saw, there's a lot of product already in there, so we're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, the thing with Craig's garage is there's nothing on the tables. When you sent me the picture of your garage, there was like nothing but stuff on the tables, man.
Well, 2,000 miles in 4 days.
Thing? Yeah. Okay. So you've been away from the house. You're sourcing, and then you're going to spend what seems to be 3 days a week, and you're going to 3 days to a week, and you're going to knock all that stuff out, right?
Yeah, I'll be on the road for the next 3 to 4 weeks straight. I figure, I'm flying this way, so I'm going to be flying and then doing a drive back. So you know, the equivalent of probably, I don't know, 8,000 to 10,000 miles in the equivalent of 4 weeks. So it's a lot, you know, going above and beyond, but I have a plan in place, and that's what it takes for me to get to what I want to do.
Okay. So let me ask you, all 3 of you guys, not all at the same time, obviously, because we'll have chaos, but real quick, some of these categories that maybe other people aren't playing in that you're like, all right, you know, I'm going to mess with this category because I'm ungated. Give me one of those categories, Craig, that you're just like, yeah, I think I can get an edge in this category.
Well, I mean, it's still a carryover from last year, but we're ungated in Star Wars 7. So.
Oh wow, that's great. Yeah, that's a good one.
You know, so that was huge last year, but I think there's going to be opportunities in that. And so just again, it was just something. I mean, last year we were like one of the first ones ungated in Star Wars 7. I was sending stuff in when there was like 2 or 3 competitors, and so we just made a killing the first couple of weeks as everyone was still trying to get ungated, and. So just an opportunity like that where there are people, I mean, a lot of people didn't even try to get ungated last year. You know, we did. We got ungated with receipts. I'm the only person that got ungated with receipts in Star Wars. But we did it just because we tried, and then we took advantage of it. And so, you know, that's what it is. And so as we discover other categories, we're primarily toys, so other brands within toys that other people are restricted in, and we're not, then we're going to try to take advantage of those things.
Okay. Cleater, is there another Star Wars movie coming out? Am I right about this? There's another one, right? Soon?
Rogue One, yeah.
Yeah. When's the anticipated date of that thing coming out?
I'm pretty sure it's December.
Okay, yeah. So being ungated in Star Wars 7, do you think that would roll in with the Rogue stuff, or is this like Star Wars Rogue you're going to have to get ungated for? What do you think?
I think Rogue might be ungated for everyone for now, but I don't know for sure.
On the same note of that, I scanned a Lego set from Force Awakens today that I was not restricted in, and I have never been unrestricted in Star Wars. So they may have actually started to loosen up on Force Awakens at least with Lego, because it was Lego is a restricted brand on its own for some people. But I don't know. As usual, Amazon's making it up as they go. So.
Okay, Jason Clark, give us one of those avenues, or sorry, give us one of these places where you feel there's an edge on your ungating versus other people that probably aren't ungated in this thing. What's one thing that you could say out there?
If you've been on the Amazon platform for about 2 years or so, you should be ungated in Blu-ray DVDs, all Blu-ray DVDs, and potentially if you're on your platform a little longer than 2 years, you may be either ungated on traditional DVDs up to $25 MSRP. You'll have to check each DVD, unfortunately, on the system to make sure. Or if you're a little bit even older, maybe closer to 3 years, you should be ungated in all DVDs. I would focus on your higher price DVDs, because at the end of the day, if you're selling a bunch of $10 DVDs, FBA, you've got the dollar pick and pack fee plus shipping plus the 15%. It really narrows down your margin. So I personally, I can sell up to 25 MSRP traditional DVDs, and I can sell all Blu-rays, but I'm not focused so much on that sub $15 DVD level on Blu-ray or traditional. I'm focused on DVDs that are selling for generally $25 or higher. So we're focusing a lot more on box sets, anime, things like that are going to have a traditional MSRP of, let's say, $40 to $70. Preferably on Blu-ray, because mostly Blu-rays are a lot more expensive anyways, and you're just going to get better margins. So that's a good niche if you're ungated in that.
Okay. I want to ask the people out in the feed, are you guys ungated in that niche or not? Let us know. Side note real quick, 4 weeks ago while I was in California, I did move one Blu-ray DVD that was a George Harrison or something, one of those Beatle dudes. And it was a Blu-ray concert, $100 it sold for, used. Isn't that crazy? I was like,
Jason, is there any threat with counterfeit claims with Blu-ray? Because I'm not familiar with the technology enough to know.
You know, as much as I watch videos and read in other forums and things like that, yeah, you're going to come across a rare blip. It's basically non-existent. You know, it's a 1 in a million shot. You know, if you're looking at a DVD, I mean, you got to look at it. You know, if the printing looks like it's a little bit off, just put it back. If the color's not right, you got to think about it. Most DVDs that were made in the last 12 years or so, they have really sharp colors and sharp printing. Some of your earlier DVDs, the color press might not have been as good. So some of those original 4 or 5 years DVDs, they don't look as sharp as today, but you can just kind of take an eye on it and go from there. So I have no issues buying DVDs. It's just, you know, a lot of times people, when you look at a DVD, it'll be shrink wrap, flip it to the very top edge and you'll look at the top of it and you'll see the barcode and the name on that. That generally just tells you that's a legitimate DVD right there, because it's not just shrink, it's just the shrink wrap, it's the way it is. So that's a good little trick to look for.
Okay. So let's go to Cleater real quick. What's one thing that you could suggest out there, maybe an avenue that it's hard to get ungated, but you suggest doing it? It could be a good edge this year.
I mean, strictly ungated, if it were me, I would probably pick a brand that I considered myself to have a profitable side. Like, just as an example, I am not gated in Huggies. I did not get restricted in Huggies, and I bought 2 pallets of diapers and shipped those on out last week. So if I found a brand, like, for example, you know, Adidas or Nike or just any brand that I tend to buy a lot of, you know, I would probably go through the trouble to get unrestricted. Lego, obviously, you know, I am not restricted in Lego, but I do sell a lot of Lego. So at the point that you are new to Amazon, or even, I'm going to say, if you're able to, and I think this goes for anything, if you're able to spend your entire sourcing budget on profitable product every week, then you really shouldn't worry about it. You should really focus on this. If you're having trouble spending your money and you need to find other avenues to spend it, and I think that goes for almost anything, whether it's paying for lists or hiring employees or the billion other ways there are to, you know, improve your business. It really all this only matters if you have extra capital you can't spend. But that's just my personal opinion.
Okay. Did any one of you guys pay to get ungated? Not a service, but pay sometimes that 1,000 fee, or you know what I'm talking about? Did any one of you guys pay? Morris, yeah, I see a no. No. Okay. Jason, no. And then Cleater, yes, no.
I did not. Okay. I would, though. I absolutely would. To be one of the like X number of people in a brand with half my competition gone, I'd pay it in a heartbeat if there was a category I needed it. So far, I've been good on most of what I've sold. But.
Well, let's leverage the 176 people that we have watching right now. What's a category or a brand specifically out there, guys, that it's worth spending the $1,000 to get ungated? And letters, I think some of these shoes are going to come up. Refresh my memory on the Nike part. I didn't hustle Nikes last year, but I did Reebok, I did Converse through FBA, I did all those. But refresh me on the Nike one. Is the Nike blanketed all restriction right now? I mean, who knows that? Cleater or Clark?
I am currently not restricted in Nike. As far as I know, if you sold a great deal of Nike previously, they didn't. There seemed to be some mismatch, like inconsistency in the way they did the restriction. But for the most part, if you were a strong seller of Nike before, they will keep you ungated. I don't know how hard it is to get unrestricted because obviously I haven't tried. But from what I understand, any new seller would be restricted in Nike, and anyone who has either not sold it or not sold that much of it is restricted. But again, Amazon's algorithms, I can only tell you what I've seen the majority of people say. Amazon's algorithms are a mystery to me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just. I guess I'm going to call on to hopefully the member Daniel Justin's in the feed or Kevin Tom, because they had a Toyota Yaris full of shoes coming to the meetup. By the way, they show up to our meetup in July with a car that they can't even see out of because they just destroyed all these Rosses and Marshalls. I'm like, dude, what better way to show you like you're really serious about this business and going to the meetup than show up with a car that's completely full and you can't even see out of it. Anyway, very funny story. So yeah, that's interesting to know. I will look at that stuff when I get out because I know, first of all, that some of the best Nike deals, some of the best Reebok deals, anything from Finish Line, Converse deals, Black Friday, you can get some crazy deal on some of those shoes. I mean, really crazy deals. And that's when I popped on most of the stuff that I sent out. I was looking for harder to find things, themed things. Yeah, I mean, and it took some time to sell some of these themed things. It really did. I remember Reebok CrossFit shoes, especially, that were like, they made a Marvel series. I don't know if you guys knew about this, but they made Marvel type CrossFit shoes, Green Lantern one, Superman one, and they were super hard to find out there. But I landed some Superman ones and I sent them off. That was tough to find though. But those were always showing like really high resale amounts because like nobody had them anymore. But I definitely urge people out there, and some people will ask about the whole outlet store game on Black Friday, and like, well, I got a Tanger outlet and a Simon outlet in every town across America. That means it's flooded. Jason Clark, it's only as flooded as you put that wall up correctly. I mean, correct?
Yeah.
If you look at the data right, and it's not flooded,
yeah.
right?
True. And I want to jump in there on that, the whole, you got a couple hundred people in the feed, and, many of them are new, or they're jumping on to the Amazon platform or just did. And unfortunately, you're probably gated in, your Nikes, your Reeboks, your Adidas, your big name brands that everybody knows. Go to, there's other shoe stores, go to Famous Footwear, go to a place that sells 45 different shoe brands all in one store. And go down the line, scan your Nikes, restricted. Oh, that's what I thought, I'm restricted. Go down the line. Oh, there's Stacey Adams, there's Merrill. There's brands that maybe you've heard of, maybe you haven't. Just go down the line, because a lot of these medium to smaller, in relations to the Nikes of the world, you're not going to be unrestricted in. So I think people are walking by great opportunity. And, women's, men's, kids, you're going to the fall now. So now you've got your winter stuff and your galoshes, and just different things are coming into play right now over the next 3 months. And for Christmas, everything's going to sell. So walk into a multi-brand shoe store. If you're in a decent sized city, you should have one. It does not have to be at an outlet. Obviously, there's probably one there, but there's going to be a lot of those places in town where you can find 50 different brands. And who cares if you're restricted in Nike? I guarantee you there's 30 brands in that store that you're not restricted in. Think outside the box.
I love it, man. Good way to think, man. Okay, so let's go into okay, so this is a very interesting question, because I know this is going to vary considerably between the three of you guys, but how many hours a week do you put into your business? And when I say this, I want you to think about research, traveling time, pick, pack, ship. We're not talking about family time or eating. I mean, we're talking about just the stuff like being on the road, all the stuff that involves the business. That goes, going to insurance places to get your warehouse cover. I'm talking about all the stuff that has to do with business. How many hours a week, Morris, do you put into this operation of yours?
In fourth quarter, over 100.
A week, right? Yeah. Over 100 a week, okay.
I'd have to actually multiply it out, and I can't do math now. But the rest of the year, it's like 20 is all we do, because we're lazy. But but I would say it's over 100 a week easily. And for us, we start September 1st, so okay. 1st through December 31st.
Cool. Jason.
I ran this last month because I wanted to know what my hourly rate, what I'm worth per hour as a reseller, and it is honestly right about 16 hours a day right now. That's been the case probably for the whole year. I don't believe that's going to change for Q4, because I just hired a full-time employee and I have a part-time employee. So that allows me to get about 6 hours sleep a day and 2 hours to, on average, for personal time and family and stuff like that. So 16 hours a day, it's a lot. But I'll be able to use the employees to supplement the additional product and stuff I'll be bringing in over the next 8 weeks.
Cool. Will you do me a favor?
No. Yes.
One of those days, I don't care which day you think is the busiest or whatever, just an average day of yours, will you just take a camera around and just film certain things that you do, even if they're like 5 second segments? I think everyone in the green room would love to know like one of your days, because I'm just saying, like, if you can,
Are
if you
you
can, that'd be
asking me
great.
to? Are you asking me to sign up on Snapchat? Is that what you're saying?
No. Yeah, actually, that would be one of the easiest ways to do it, honestly, and to disperse it to everyone. But no, I mean, if you just want to do it in an iMovie or whatever, you can.
I can do that.
Anyway, I think it'd be really fascinating. So, Cleater, real quick, how many hours a week do you do?
Well, for me, it's actually gone down quite a bit. I'm up to 5 employees now. So I've outsourced all my prep, and I've outsourced. I just hired a full-time RA shopper, and I've hired a full-time assistant just to contact wholesalers for me and handle a lot of the administrative stuff that I do. So the amount of time that I am actually working and the amount of time that I just am here because it's weird to not be at the office is probably a very different thing. But I would say that during a normal week, I could probably work about 6 hours a day. During Q4, obviously, I'll still go and shop and I'll work the super long hours. But I'm getting to the point now. I've outsourced a lot of it, so it's less now about that I need to show up and more about that the more hours, the more stuff I buy, the more money I make. So I may still do it, but it's rapidly getting to the point now where it's more of a choice, I would say.
That's really cool, man. When I talked to you at the meetup in July, you said something really hilarious. You're like, I was at the pool today. Or it's like,
Right.
I'm at the pool today, and I'm just like chilling there, and I open up my phone, and I see stuff getting checked in. I see stuff selling. He's like, that's gonna be the life right there. He's like, that's the life I want. I want to just be relaxing by a pool, and I just want to watch my whole business operate. So I could say you sound like you're considerably closer to that goal, right? Since the last time we talked.
I would say so. It's a pretty good feeling. Like this morning, I decided to sleep in a little bit because I had played Minecraft pretty late, so I slept till. I played Minecraft, so I slept till probably about 10 o'clock. I woke up, and by the time I got to the office, I had already had someone who was probably 400 miles away wake up at a hotel, and they had already been finding me profit. My office manager had already, clocked in both of my 2 preppers that worked today, and they had already gotten out a couple of boxes. My assistant had already contacted 2 wholesalers for me, and she had some products to show me for an order we're considering making. And all that happened with me still in bed. And that's really what I want to build towards. I mean, I'm still building, but ultimately the goal is that I'm an option, not a requirement.
Very awesome. I love, man, you definitely got to speak up more in the green room. I know your operation, I know you're building it, but you're kind of building it stealth ways, man. Like, whereas like people like Dugan, for example, Resale Rabbit, he's like showing every piece of like breaking down a shelf, putting a garage door, all this kind of stuff. So it's fascinating to see any kind of contribution from you guys in the room, by the way. So I don't want you to think like, oh, he means do more, but it's just really, it's very, very motivating to other people, right? That might just have one table in a room set up, right? And they're looking to you guys and going, this is amazing. Like, it could be a single man operation. It could be a 5-person operation. Either way, these people seem very happy, and that's, I think, what ultimately a reseller wants is happiness and the feeling that you are not truly working, right? But you're having fun. You're working for yourself. You can do 20 hours a week like Morris wants every now and then, whatever. Or you can sit on a chair and just chill there by the pool. Like,
I think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was kind of just winding down.
I think a big caveat to that, and I've tried to think of a way to post this in the green room, but I don't really know how to put it into words other than to just say it, on video verbally. It really comes down to what you want, because I don't know if you've ever seen this, but even Gary Vee, who I am not an avid follower of, but I've seen a few of his videos, they were asking him why, if I'm happy in my job, why should you tell me to, look away from it? And he's like, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the complainers. I think an excellent example would be Craig Morris. I mean, Craig Morris could absolutely work harder during the rest of the year and make more money. There's no question of that. But Craig gets the time with his family, which matters way more than money. And at the end of the day, his business model is built to do what makes Craig happy. And it works for him. He pays his bills. He works a lot during Q4, a little bit less in the year. I don't know all of the specifics of that. But ultimately, one day when his kids are adults, they're going to be able to say, Dad was there. And that's way more important than money. And for me, I don't have any kids, so I have interests in other types of businesses, things like that. But for me, it's more a matter of it's quality of life. And you really have to strike that balance. If you're doing what you love, like I love shopping, and I probably would go do it even if I didn't have to, just to bring in more income because I enjoy it. But it really comes down to, you have to sit down and say, what do I actually want? Not just in money, because that's not the only thing that matters, but also quality of life. If your business is paying you a few thousand a month and that makes you happy and you get more time doing what you do, then do that. Don't let anyone like me, like Dugan, like Jason Clark, like Craig, figure out what makes you happy. Anything that I say or Jason says and Craig says, I think they would agree with me to say we would only be trying to help the people who are not happy with where they're at.
Right.
Right.
And what I love about the whole model, is you can do exactly that. You can do whatever it is. And it was interesting because when Dugan came to town earlier this year, we talked. We were looking at like our physical numbers, and they were so close to each other in so many ways, and we got there completely different ways. And we both got there doing things the way we love. We had things to learn from each other. Doesn't mean that we can't still grow and improve. And even as a family right now, I mean, one of our biggest things that we're debating is, do we want to go the warehouse model, or do we just want to get a bigger garage in a bigger house and keep working at home? We haven't made that decision one way or the other, but that's the freedom we have, is to make that decision if that's what we want to do. And for some people, Q4 is just a great way to pick up an extra $2,000 or $3,000 to pay off some bills, and that's great for that too. And I just want to encourage everybody who's watching, like the Q4 shouldn't be something that you're dreading. If it's something that you're dreading, going out there and doing the shopping and getting in with the busyness of everything, then you maybe need to find your own way to do Q4. For me, this is the rush of my year. This is my Super Bowl. This is what I've been looking forward to all year, planning around. And so this is fun. And if going out and shopping 16 hours and then shipping for 8 hours, if that's not fun to you, then don't do it. Find your own way to do Q4.
That's pretty well said. I want to get out to the people. 182 people are watching exactly what we're talking about right now. Guys, do me a favor, hit the like button, right? And another favor, can I get an amen from everyone? Because Cleator's talk was very, very inspirational right there, echoed by Morris. And here we go, Clark. What are your thoughts on the whole happiness and let's do the 16 hours a day thing, the 2 hours for family, and the whole Q4 kind of thing? What's going on in your head? Because you got to be itching to say something. I could tell. I'm surprised that you're actually staying still right now and not trying to like bust in on the conversation. As motivational as you are, like you definitely can hold it back pretty good. So go ahead, man.
I'm like a bomb ready to go off. No, and I talk a good game because I work a good game, but at the end of the day, I've posted this a lot. Don't do me, don't do Jason, do you. Everybody's different. So I can push you to work 16 hours a day, and you will probably succeed by doing it, because you do anything 16 hours a day, you will. But you may not be happy. That may not work for your personal life, for your family, for your personal health. There's a lot of things. I sacrifice a lot. I decided this year would be that 16-hour a day for pretty much the entire year. And I paid the price for it in many ways, but it's going to get me to where I want to be. And in 2017, that's over, and the shift will be about more of Jonathan's type thing, where he can, maybe only work 6 hours a day, leverage other people, leverage wholesale, private label, maybe online, things like that, where I'm not running around so much. So do what makes you happy. If you're trying to level up and you don't, let's say, one good thing is I don't think people use online arbitrage enough. And Craig was talking about running around and being crazy for Q4. And yes, it's out there. You can go get it. But if that doesn't work for your situation, for your family life, maybe you have a full-time job and you've only got so many hours. And of course, you have to get some sleep. Maybe working from home and leveraging online arbitrage is going to work for you. And I hope you can work that.
Cool. Okay, so let's now go into a segment. Think of a pie chart real quick, guys. And we're going to do a bird's eye view of your business non-Q4, okay? So some people out there might be wondering, I know there's a big rush with Q4, but what happens to these guys after Q4 is done? What does their business kind of look like? So in a real brief statement, with the pie chart involved in your head, Craig Morris, what is your business? Is it about 30% OA, 70% RA? Go ahead and tell us.
Well, it was probably about 80% RA up until recently, and we just a couple months ago signed up with a prep service. So now we're probably into the next year looking at about 50-50 RA OA, and the 50% that we're sourcing OA is product that we never see or touch. So we don't have employees in the traditional sense like Cleator does, but we've half of our product that we're sourcing for Q4 and as we go into next year is going to be stuff that I'll never even see. It'll all be handled by a prep company, and I would say honestly, going into the lighter months ahead, January through June, we might be as high as 80% OA, and I'm just going to try to develop a bunch of OA replenishables and do that and never have to touch it, and then just do the RA thing when I want to. And then, you know, maybe even, like I said, if we decide to start going the warehouse way, then we might be starting to develop that to get ready for next Q4.
Okay. Cool. Timothy Grapp from the green room. We all know who that is, right? He was actually at the meetup. Hopefully everyone met him there, but he was on some of the hikes with us, and he was doing a lot. He's just a really cool guy to hang out with. And he did a flip off of a stump into the freaking pond that we were at. I got it on camera, by the way. Anyway, but yeah, Timothy Grapp, when he first got into the green room, this guy was like really embracing a lot of stuff that Jason Clark talks about now, and that is that if you can't make your current situation work, this dude was traveling like 1 or 2 hours away and then spending the night or something like that. He was doing like to a different town, right? I mean, that's what it's straight commitment to make it happen, right? Is if your immediate town is just a really small, crappy town and your whole entire big box store is picked over, this dude invests an hour or 2 hours. I think it was maybe 2 hours. And he spends, is it 2 hours, right, Morris? Is that what it is?
I knew Timmy before the green room because we used to live in the same podunk town of 2,000 people in Minnesota before the green room. And so it was kind of crazy. He showed up in the green room. I'm like, is that the same Timmy Grapp? So for, you know, he took over the town that I used to pick when we moved and picked it in a couple other areas then. But yeah, there's nothing for 2 hours in every direction from where we used to live. I
mean, that's hungry right there. But anyway, let's get to your pie chart real quick, because I'm sure Timothy Grapp's going to echo in the comment feed right here. And if we can get to about 150 likes, we'll definitely give out something for free as well. So anyone that hasn't liked this video, please hit the like button or make a decision. I don't care if you dislike the video or not. It's the fact that I just want you to make a choice. And, you know, we'll definitely give out something for free once we hit the 150 mark. Jason Clark, think about that pie chart real quick. Off Q4 season, what is your pie chart looking like?
Off this Q4 season or just in general?
No, just in general. I mean, okay, let's say this Q4 season, because I know your business has definitely changed this year.
And it's going to change a lot right after Q4. So, you know, right now it's probably 50% wholesale, 40% RA, 10% other stuff, whether it's OA or whatever. But January is different for me. It'll be, you know, 50% wholesale, 40% private label, and 10% will be RA, and that's it. So I don't want to be out running around getting stuff. I want to be able to do things from my computer, and that's where wholesale and private label will be, and that'll be on multiple platforms.
Okay. This year, not Q4 related, like how's your business look like?
Well, I will say that the thing that I've learned most is the most successful businesses when it comes to Amazon are those who are willing to change at the drop of a hat. There's a green room member, Helen Kinson. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she and I talk quite a bit. So tonight she and I were running some budget numbers and discussing that very thing. I'm kind of in a position right now where there are certain risks that I took, and now people have learned from that, but I'm also learning from other people's risks. So for example, you know, with Dugan opening a retail store and testing that model out, if that works, I've started to build a budget so that I can actually, you know, take the initial opening. And I would highly suggest anyone listening to this don't consider that. I mean, unless if you ask Dugan, it's expensive. You know, you need to have some real money put back. But if that works out well, that's definitely something that I would consider. Another option I'm currently considering is right now the Prime Zero Prep. If any of you want to look into that, it's a prep center that I use, and they have started to offer some great deals if you do wholesale. For the prep costs. Like, it's getting to the point where they're offering the prices that I'm not sure I can beat with my own employees. So one of two things is going to happen. We're either going to rent a warehouse with a loading dock and we're going to do all the prep out of there and do more and more wholesale, or we're going to send the wholesale to a prep center. I'm still going to have my one retail arbitrage shopper that goes out, brings in the inventory. My current staff will ship it out, and we may use the rest of my current space to create like a small niche retailer. It will just be strictly to try to get wholesale deals. So it'll just be like a little gift shop. I don't even care if it turns a profit. It's really just to help me build those relationships because they really like retailers. So, or if the clearance outlet type model works for Dugan, then I would definitely consider, you know, opening 1 or 5 in Chattanooga. So it really comes down to, for me, kind of seeing what works for him, you know, seeing Jason's success in private label. Because to me, the biggest value in my business, you know, I hang out with some sellers who are doing triple what I am. And to them, I am a massive newbie. So for me, they've walked over those coals already. And I love the fact that I can sit there and learn from them what works and avoid what doesn't without having to put my own skin in the game.
Yeah, that's what's really good about the room too. I noticed that you guys have definitely formed alliances and like talked to each other and stuff like that through messages. But I think it's fantastic that someone always emerges and tries something new and then reports kind of back like, how's it going? You know, what's the ROI looking like? And the entire thing, was it worth it? The brick and mortar thing, I mean, to anybody seems like, oh, isn't that scary? Because the notion, correct, Jason Clark, like the notion of brick and mortar kind of is, everyone's like, oh, isn't that just getting phased out? But if you can turn a profit, if you can turn 40 or 50%, even 40 to 60%, I mean, you know, and you have some workers there and it makes sense. I mean, that maybe it's still alive, right? I mean, what do you think, Clark?
I mean, brick and mortars will always be around, but, you know, there's going to be consolidation, and with that is opportunity. But, you know, the doors open with brick and mortar, like Jonathan said. You know, you try to get them gated in Nike and these things and whatever, and they want certain, you know, wholesale accounts and whatever. Trust me, we've talked to the, you know, I've talked to the Sam Cohens of the world and whatever. They open a retail store just to get ungated. Yes, they maybe break even over there, but now they're ungated in 20 major brands, and they're going to make $100,000, $200,000, $400,000 at least on a large operation like Cohen, just by opening a retail store. So you may not make much on the brick and mortar, but at the end of the day, all companies want to sell their product in a brick and mortar. So you got to play the wheel, and I think Jonathan alluded to that, to where he doesn't really care that much if he's that profitable at the brick and mortar, but it will absolutely create wholesalers, account reps, all those people are going to walk in the door saying, hey, I need to talk to your manager. We want to sell you we want to have you sell our product and thing. No problem. They might not know that you're selling on Amazon, eBay, Amazon Europe, Walmart.com, Jet.com. It's going to open up a lot of opportunity. It's different when we in the feed are calling and going to ASD and wholesale shows, finding them. They will come to you and beg you to buy their stuff. That's what it's there.
That's interesting, man. Very, very interesting. And I will make you a promise now that I'm pretty sure it's either going to be me or Raken, or me and Raken, and maybe College Picker. We are going to ASD next year. But it seems like at the pace that this stuff is going at, man, I mean, you just never know what the new hottest thing would be. But I definitely want to check out ASD only because it just, I gotta check it out. It just sounds so fascinating. Maybe I want to get into it. And I do want to ask the people in the feed real quick, what does your pie chart look like? We just talked about our pie chart non-Q4 related this year. What does yours look like? I'm just curious to see how people are doing out there and what their business model is kind of like. Let's go into some of these other questions real quick, because at the rate that we're going, we are like 25% through the outline. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, having a panel like this, like an all-star panel, I mean, it's easy to just go right to like the really fun questions and everything. So let's talk now about Q4. Okay, so Q4 is usually thought about as a time where toys, games, and electronics are very, very big kind of sellers, right? That's when the rush, you know, and anytime you look at the spread of Target or whatever, it's always toys, and it seems like small electronics and all that kind of stuff. How do you feel about this year with toys? Do you think there's a huge influx of people coming into FBA 2016? Do you think or is FBA already by this time? You know, some people, it's getting so restrictive that beginners are just, I don't know if I want to do that. It seems very risky. What do you guys think about that? Like, Morris, you've been in the game, in the RA game for like 3 years now, right? Something like that. And what do you think of this Q4 with the toys, electronics, games? Do you think it's scary enough to where people are not going to want to mess with it?
I think people who want to get into it should get in wise, but from what I'm seeing, it looks like the number of sellers increase. Even on a lot of the stuff I sell, I'm seeing, you know, on a lot of these, you know, popular stuff, 3, 4, 5, 6 just launch sellers, no feedback, just getting in there. And you know, it's I'm not scared about it from my end because I've got a business plan, but I'm telling you, just buying stuff straight up at retail price and turning a profit is going to it's going to become harder and harder. You've got to find ways to lower your entry cost, even on the RAOA level, and there's lots of tips and tricks to do that, and I'm not going to give those all here because that would hurt my business. But you've got to find ways to pay less than other people, because you know, when it comes to toys during Q4, yeah, there can be a hidden gem here or there, but eventually everyone's going to know what the pie face for this year is going to be. You know, everybody from every reseller group out there is going to know. So the question isn't going to be whether or not you can sell it. It's going to be, can you find it? And when you find it, can you pay less than everybody else is doing? And if you can do that, you're going to win, because as people are racing to the bottom, you're just racing to slightly less profitable. And so that's a huge thing that I've paid. You know, I didn't pay any attention to that really the last 2 years, but this year I'm looking for even if it's 2%, if I can get a 2% advantage over somebody else, I'm in, because that means when they're break even, I'm still making money. And yeah, obviously I want to make more than 2%, but making 2% is better than breaking even, and finding ways to do that. So I would just say anyone who's dipping their toe in the water, especially for those popular categories, is be really wise, because a lot of people are getting better deals than you can. And until you figure out how to get those better deals, you can get yourself into some trouble and some sticky situations.
Okay. Let's go to Cleater on this. I want to echo in on a little bit of on the point that you just made. But Cleater, you have an army, seems like, of people going out there, including yourself, sourcing. You like to go out there and shop. What's your take on merchandise, cards, stacking sales, coupon? I mean, is this absolutely imperative when you do your sourcing with your army of people that go out there?
Well, you know, something I would make a comment. A lot of people have their people that they look up to, their role models. You know, the inspirational speakers, whether it's Gary Vee or Grant Cardone or a bunch of them that I probably don't know of, but Jameson could probably list for us. But I would say for me that what I do is last year I actually have what I consider my nemesis and that I have huge respect for. They have no clue who I am. I've never met them, but I found an item at Walmart. In fact, I can even give it out. It was a Matchbox shark set. It was a Black Friday sale. I feel like Craig probably got in on it. And I bought it, and I was like, the profit's good. I bet a lot of people are going to pass on these because they're going to oversize. And Toyberg shows up on that and, I mean, drops the price. And they had 176 of an oversized listing. Like, we're talking 2 units to a large box. And I said, this is the future of Amazon. This is success. You get the product cheaper than other people, but you also are able to handle those slim profit margins. So what I have done is I have built my entire business model around, I don't even necessarily want to say I have 5 people, so I'm going to do 5 times the sales. I want to have 5 people so that if, for example, my shopper, he found a deal at a regional dollar. It was like a Dollar Tree type store, but it was a single unit, a mom and pop shop. He found some soap. He bought that soap for $1.07 because I didn't take our tax exempt. I paid for, and my net on that soap is about $2.50. So after I pay for my prep costs, I'm probably going to net about 80 cents to $1. You know, once I get it to Amazon, pay my shopper, all that on that soap. But I did not shop for that soap. I did not ship that soap. I just collected that money. And so I want to build on a model where I can take those 10, 20, 30% profits and survive, because to me, bulk, volume, and lower prices are the future of Amazon. So I am not Toyberg's level. Toyberg has close to 60 employees. They are a behemoth. They are like, yeah, I've been to stores that their shoppers, they send out teams of shoppers during Q4. So they're like me times like 500. But my goal is to build towards their model, because watching them show up on listings and just drop the house, no one wants to mess with them. Like, literally, I don't care about seeing Amazon listing, but if Toyberg's on there, I'm out, because I know they'll take the price. They will get the buy box no matter what. And so now I do that. I mean, I will get the buy box unless it's just absolutely imperative that I wait, and even if I have to sell at a little bit of a loss, because I think that's the future of Amazon, being able to do volume and being able to be aggressive. And like Craig said, you know, there's some tricks to getting that inventory as cheap as possible. But doing your research is a big part of that.
Clear.
Oh, sorry, real quick. Let me go to Jason real quick. Echo in on that real quick, because with the warehousing thing that you do, or not the warehousing, I mean the wholesaling thing that you do, you go volume, but not so aggressive, right? You're trying to find fewer people on the listing, correct? You're trying
Correct.
to be solely like yourself, correct? Right?
Yeah, that's my model, but you know, that's kind of the niches I'm in. I'm not, you know, doing the most hottest toy out there. So it really comes down to a 2-part sword. Is you've got tank, obviously, and then negotiating. Negotiating is key. The more you can buy, you have a little bit more weight to negotiate, and negotiating can go any way on any particular negotiation, but the relationship comes into play. And I think the longer that you're dealing with a wholesaler or maybe even a retail manager, and you're working with deals. Case in point, 2 hours before we come on today, I was at a store and I went to go pick up some stuff, and I have a good relationship with the manager, and I was actually going to do a return at a different store. I walked by, I saw her, she was on vacation last week. I went in to say hi. Said, by the way, we have a new item in stock. We haven't even put them on the floor yet. They're not going to be out till tomorrow. Not only will I sell you every piece in the back today, I'll go ahead and give you tomorrow's sale price. So that's where the relationship comes in from past negotiating, being kind. I bring in gift cards for her and the employee on occasion because of those things. So less people on a listing, negotiate with a smile.
So you're like a pharmaceutical rep in a sense. You're just bringing donuts.
Well, you know what? I think you probably know a little bit about that, right, Chris, in your former life? Yes, I'm basically bringing donuts. That's right. You know, bring the Krispy Kreme, bring the heat.
You know where I live, bro.
I'm just gonna mail them to you, man. I got that kind of time.
That's That's very interesting. So you're definitely like you know, I guess a sweet talker type dude. Like, you know, you've had sales experience in the past, right, Jason?
Absolutely. Yeah. Before I left that sales experience to start this full-time career. So yeah, you know, you learn from being nice. You know, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. So.
Okay. Craig Morris, real quick, has sweet talking Target, an employee at Walmart, has that helped you out in any Q4 so far?
Oh, for sure. I've got, you know, especially the stores that I see on a regular basis. One of my targets takes bets on what time I'm coming in on particular days. They have a pool on what time I was coming through the door. But no, and I'll have employees, the same thing with Jason, they will pull it. They will, you know, there was last year, there was one of the Star Wars toys from a Toys R Us that was limited. He's like, I know you wanted one, so I pulled the case for you so you can buy it. You know, and it was like limit one per customer, but he pulled the whole case before it even hit the shelf. You know, and it's like, that stuff is huge because it's a time saver too, because I don't have to go up and down looking for this thing. They already know what I want, you know, especially, you know, they're not gonna do all my shopping for me, but just to work ahead and say, hey, look, we know that you want this. We pulled the whole case for you. You know, I mean, when we go in certain stores, like, and we help them hit their sales goal for the day, I mean, that's huge, because it's like, you know, that's they're hitting their goal. You're working with them, then they're going to work with you. And like Jason says, I just brought one of my stores a bunch of donuts last week. You know, you just bring the donuts. you bring the donuts. I mean, it's going to work, and you got to remember that these people are dealing with a bunch of grumpy people a lot of times coming through, and complainers and scammers. I mean, all these things that frustrate us. You know, but it's all done face to face. You know, people are trying to pull the wool over their eyes face to face. They don't deal with many people that come in and just bring them a gift, you know, or just say, thank you, we appreciate what you do, you know, and so I haven't done a lot of the gift giving, or as much as I should have in the past. But it's definitely part of my plan this year, not as a way to get anything, but just as a way to say thank you, because, you know, I've benefited so much from all these people. You know, a dozen donuts for $6 or $8 or $10. You know, to show that I appreciate them. Sure, it may open up doors down the future, but it's not even for them. Just to say, for all the help that they've provided over the years, and looking the items up and digging in the back for me and all those things. I mean, it's just about being nice to people, because they're people, you know, and caring about other people.
Do you see, because since last fourth quarter and this fourth quarter, one thing in particular, like Target stores, for example, big box store that's very much known across the USA, they have like a corporate statement saying we don't do business with remember that statement, like, don't do business with reseller. You're laughing at it now. Yeah. So, but how does this donut giving and all that kind of stuff bode with employees that know the code? Is this, I mean, like, how do they even know that exists? I mean, they clearly know you're a reseller, right?
Some of them do, yeah. Others of them think I'm the best uncle in the world, you know. But yeah, some of them know what I do, but the benefit that I provide to them is more valuable than them listening to corporate. You know, I mean, if I can be a bigger benefit to them than what corporate says, they're gonna come, you know, and they're gonna side with me so long as they have a choice in the matter. And you know, and I'm polite about it, and, you know, I adhere. You know, if there's ever a store that says it's a limit of a particular item or whatever, I always adhere to that, because I'm not going to put someone's job on the line, you know, for my benefit. That's not what it's about. But you know, if you're polite, if you do the right thing, and then, you know, yeah, certain stores you have to be a little bit wiser or different things, but overall, you know, they need to make sales, and we have to realize that. Yeah, Target's not going to go bankrupt just because I don't shop it there. But ultimately, they need to make sales. And so if you can provide what they want in a way that is respectful and caring and understanding to what they need to do, it's going to work out in your favor most of the time.
Yep.
I'm gonna jump in there.
Yeah,
I think, let's say your Targets and your Walmarts, there's some small easy strategies you can do. If I've got a cart full and I've got plenty of quantities of certain items, I'm going straight for 19-year-old Julie, who works part-time, or 18-year-old Julie, who's a senior in high school, who I guarantee you could care less about reseller policy. She just wants to get home, finish her homework, and go on and go see her boyfriend. That's it. Go there with a smile, laugh at them. If I'm coming strong with 2 cartloads, I'm not going for the person who's 45, 55, 60 years old, who's probably been there 2 to 7 years, maybe the manager, assistant manager, lead shift manager, who knows all the policies because they're probably dealing with their quarterly policy, checks and all that stuff. Pick people generally that are younger that won't care and probably don't know about policy, and be nice. Be nice to all of them anyways, but be a little bit more strategic about it if you're coming in fully loaded with a large quantity of one item and you think there may be an issue. I've never had an issue with a younger person.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too, if you think you're triggering something, one of the things I've used with certain targets that I know are a little more sensitive, self-checkout.
Yes.
Just use the self-checkout. It's there. It may take you an extra 2 minutes, but just the fact that you don't have to deal with the hassle or the asking, it's there. So there's times and opportunities to take advantage of it. And I mean, I can say, in my experience, I haven't run into any issues anywhere except a couple of targets. And I mean, like, I've never had any issues at a Walmart or really anywhere else. It's just a couple of targets, and it's usually just because of an event here or there where resellers overbought it, or whatever. Target didn't put their policies of limits in, and so it's a reaction after that. But usually 6 months down the road, nobody really cares about it anymore. So.
Okay. I do have 2 very short questions for each one of you guys, and then we'll go to a couple questions in the feed. And then, so here's a 2-part question let's start with Jonathan Cleater. How many days of complete sourcing do you see yourself doing, not your team, but yourself doing in Q4, all right? And then what is your overall Q4 sales goal, Jonathan Cleater?
For me, I've really tried to, I do use inventory labs. And I've tried to move away from actually having a sales goal so much as a profit goal. And by that, I mean, inventory lab shows you how much your profit you're shipping in. I actually set a goal to ship a certain amount of profit per week. And that way, if I paid, 100% ROI, 30% ROI, the same amount of profit is going into Amazon. So my goal is to ship somewhere in the neighborhood of about $10,000, $12,000 in profit a week. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going to put that in my pocket. There's going to be price erosion and refunds and a variety of, my costs. So a very small portion of that will actually be profit. But my goal is to start out shipping $12K of profit a week. So there'll probably come a sweet spot. We're putting all the systems in place. We're considering purchasing a second van, possibly getting a Airbnb at a couple towns that have been pretty kind to us as far as having a lot of stores and minimal reseller coverage. So we have a few honey holes there. So I'm thinking probably, I'll put it to you this way. I told my business partner, I'm only going to need you 18 hours a day, 7 days a week for a month or 2. So, I will probably try to do as much as I physically can. Me and my assistant were going over today. I have a chart that shows my Amazon payouts, the day they're actually likely to hit my bank account. And we're basically building a formula based on when those, because I do have access to about, a decent amount of credit cards as well. But obviously we don't want to pay interest on those. So we're kind of putting the plan together to say our goal is to have maximum funds here. Our goal is to run out of money here. And then by this particular date, everything needs to be shipped and we need to, call it. Because last year, Amazon's prep time slowed down dramatically. I've even heard quotes as far back as December 2nd to ship stuff in and be sure it'll be live. And I'm sure things tend to drop in price pretty dramatically after Q4 when it comes to toys at least. So if you are not absolutely positive, especially if you have a very limited budget, I would really try to start shopping for non-toys by December 10th is probably pushing it. It's worse for me because all of my stuff goes to a redistribution center. It's just a curse of doing this kind of volume. But I'm planning probably by December 15th, my employees will be off for a week and we'll be out of the game. So I would say really just know your numbers. I've looked at services like Payability, if it comes to that, just to plan for my cash flow. But the most important thing is to spend your money as fast as you can after your payout, get your stuff shipped in as fast as you can, because Q4 is the one time a year where if you have money in your pocket, you really did something wrong.
Okay. Jason Clark, how many days of complete sourcing do you see yourself doing during the fourth quarter? Like actual days, you could say 30 days of complete, like I'm, balls to the wall, whatever. What's your quarter four goal, like in sales? What do you want to reach?
It's really a formula. It's shop, ship, shop, ship, shop, ship. That's it. I'm going to shop one day, ship the next, shop one day, ship the next. And if you ask me, well, what happens if you get done with shipping halfway during your ship day? And that means I didn't shop enough the day before. I'm going to power shop as much as I can on the first day to guarantee that it's going to take me all day, a significant amount of that day to get it shipped out. So that's what's going to be. It's going to be, probably, if I had to break it down, 4 days of shopping to 3 days of shipping, just because I have my 2 employees. And as far as goals for Q4, 350,000.
Okay, cool. You got. What are the chances that we're going to have a shop ship shirt like coming out?
I think I brought one to the Austin meetup. I probably have one in the room.
So. I need one that just says shop.
Oh man!
I'm just gonna get one that says daily payouts because I don't get them. So
I think Cleater needs one that says "Where's the pool?" That's all it needs to say. Where's the pool?
I mean, a glass of eggnog, just being like, this is rough, guys. It's Q4. No, I'm just kidding. I do work hard. I just unfortunately or fortunately have managed to source a lot of it out.
Yeah. Okay, so Craig Morris, last one real quick. How many days of complete sourcing do you see yourself doing in Q4? And what are your Q4 goals? Everyone's got the goals. What are yours looking like?
Well, we're trying to spend $5,000 a day, 6 days a week. That is our shopping goal. 3 days a week is online arbitrage, which we use same as Cleater. We use Prime Zero Prep. And so half of our stuff would go there, and then the other 3 days a week are my shopping days. The days that I'm sourcing OA are usually the nights after I've been packing and shipping all day. So we're basically 6 days a week. In terms of our goal, we don't have a set financial goal. Our goal is to buy a house with our Q4 earnings. That is our goal. And so we went and looked at a house that we kind of liked last week. Might not be on the market, but just to physically go and say, okay, what are we? Let's keep our mindset very firm here. Like, this is what we're doing. Because, even last week, it was just kind of a couple of rough days. And we're just like, okay, what are we doing? Remember, let's we came together as a family, said, what's our goal? Because it's tough. I mean, it's tough in September. What's it going to be like in November? Because it's only going to get harder. But that's where it's like, okay, let's go look at a house. There's an open house. Let's go look at it. Let's walk through it. Let's get imagining what we can achieve. I mean, how crazy is it to think that I could work for 4 months to earn enough money to buy a house? I don't know if we're going to get there. I don't know if we're going to be able to quite do it, but to even think that that's fathomable, to work for 4 months and earn enough money to buy a house, it absolutely blows my mind, the level of business that we can do out of a garage, with my family. I mean, like that's absolutely mind blowing to me. So, obviously the type of house we get will depend on how much stuff we sell. So hopefully we sell.
Are we talking like buy the house with cash?
Yes, buy the cash.
We're not talking the down payment. We're talking pay off the whole house. Yeah. So basically you got to pay the taxes and then have enough left after you pay the taxes to purchase a house with cash.
Right. Basically after we, we gave ourselves a loan from ourselves. Some of our savings, we gave ourselves a loan. So we got to pay that back. To ourselves, and different things. But yeah, after all the bills are paid, and we have this chunk of change, and we might fall short, let's say, but if we fall short, then we're thinking maybe we'll have 70% down for a home. And that's not a bad deal either, but that's what our goal is, to do this year. So we'll see what happens.
So 5,000 a day. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah, you said 5,000 a day.
At what profit margin? If you don't mind me asking.
Sorry, 5,000 a day, and we're aiming at purchase time 50% ROI or higher. 5,000 a day, 50% ROI or higher, assuming we're going to get 30%. So again, we're hoping. We know there's going to be a few things that tank, a few things that don't make it there. But we're hoping that there's going to be enough other home runs and other things that are going to be well over the 100% that a 30% average is going to work for us. So, I don't know. Like, we may have set too big of a goal, but it's I needed the first year, this is my third year doing fourth quarter. The first year I did Q4, I met all my goals by like the first week of November. And I just learned that year, I'm like, I'm setting a big goal. And we set a big goal last year. We didn't quite meet it. So this year is like, okay, then we're going to set a bigger goal, because if we didn't meet it last year, we must not have been motivated enough to work towards it. And I mean, life happened last year too. We did live in a hotel, and my wife did give birth, on November 9th. So it's kind of some life stuff going on with it, but still, we're just like, let's set a big goal and let's see what happens. And if we fall short, then that's not going to be a bad failure. It's like, if you can only buy 70% of a house in cash, after 4 months of work, that's not the worst thing in the world.
That's amazing. I saw a really wonderful comment when you were talking, Craig, from Oz Worldwide. It says, "You got this, Craig." So I want to see all the people out there. We got 203 people watching right now. Let's type in "You got this, Craig," because I absolutely believe in Craig Morris is going to get this. Jason Clark, does Craig got this or what?
Oh man, Craig owns it. Craig's just gonna stamp his name on it. I'm gonna be there to celebrate his opening of his house with a bottle of champagne. He has this. I learn a lot from Craig Morris. Obviously I think he's a Q4 genius to take it. He has a couple of children, a wonderful wife, and you guys can see in the feed what his setup is. I've said it before. Craig Morris, he's not special. Look at his setup. He's working out of his house, and he's going to buy a house cash with 4 months of hard work because he's dedicated. You can do it too. There's nothing special about him, but he goes for it. He puts the time in. He puts the time in to learn and to research things and efficiency. And obviously he has the help of his wife and whatever, but his plan of success did not happen in one day. He's been mentally and physically planning for this all year, and he's going to do it. I know he will do it.
Yep, I absolutely. I even wrote it in the comment feed. And by the way, there's probably about 100 "You got this, Craigs" that just popped up. So just so you know, it looks like the feed is really pumped up about this show. Guys, one last time, I will give out something for free. Let's hit the like button real quick. If for anything, let's hit it for, "You got this, Craig." But there was a funny comment here real quick. Then we'll get to the contest, and then we're out of here. Where is it? It's from Homeboy. It's from Timothy Grab. It says, "Go, Craig, you better have a pool for us."
Yeah,
that's in the plan. That is in the plan for the house.
All right. So there you go.
Can I throw a comment out to answer one of the questions in the feed?
Yes.
I know I'm going to have a Jason Clark moment and be a little bit harsh because I think it's kind of funny. But Kaylin Coda Company was making the comment that where she lives, a house is $350,000. You're selling on Amazon, and when you're selling on Amazon, it's not like Silicon Valley where location matters. So move. If you're going to be your own boss and you can't afford where you live, unfortunately, that is one aspect of Amazon. Where you live, you're equal with everybody. So if I live in San Francisco where my rent is $3,000 a month, or I live in Chattanooga where it's $500, I am still earning the same amount of money. This is not like a job where they pay you more based on where you live. So if you're wanting to go full time, then I would strongly consider you live somewhere where the cost of living is lower. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that out there.
If you want some encouragement, look at houses in Naples, Florida, and sort from high to low. just do that. just search houses Naples, Florida. Search from high to low, and you're going to see 6, 7, 8-digit houses. So
is that where you're buying?
One of those this year, but we are not in a cheap real estate area here. This is it's been 3 years of working towards this though to get ourselves to this point. So it's not. This isn't a flippant goal that we just set 3 weeks ago. This is something. I mean, we have literally kind of been focusing on this since January in preparation for this. So.
When I went to Naples, Florida recently over the summertime, I took a cruise, like a little boat cruise that takes you out of the harbor and it brings you around the Port Royal. I think that's what it was called, right? Am I right about this, Morris?
Oh yeah.
So they're like on a loudspeaker in this boat, and it's like, yeah, that house over there, that dude, he is the creator of the Heinz Company, and I'm like, holy moly, like, and then you start realizing, like, man, I'm just a green room university dude, like. This is like serious, like nostalgic type money. I mean, the stuff that we've been using since we were kids, and this dude's house is like mega big. And apparently, the people that buy, there's only a certain amount of properties in Port Royal, right? It's not expanding by any means. So when one house goes for sale, these $1 million mansions, what typically happens is they get bulldozed to the ground, and then the next millionaire, billionaire builds whatever they want. It's like, what? You got to be kidding me. No, but if it really, there's not a single crappy house there, but like you'll see all these houses being like blown to rubble, and you're like, you can see what, and you're like, holy crap, does that really exist? When you're that rich, you can just build those mansions and just build your own thing. It's pretty crazy. I was like, this is very absurd to me, right? But people, got to have it exactly right. I guess when you're a billionaire, you got to have it exactly right.
Well, you're friends with Jason Clark, so you're the same. You're the same.
Yeah,
you know Jason Clark. That's the same.
We'll get there, man. We'll get there. All right, so I want to get the contest out of the way, and then we're out of here in 2 minutes. So the contest is we're going to give out, for the people in the green room, do not participate in this contest because you're already in the room, but I do want to give a chance of someone out there that's very inspired by the show to at least come into the green room for free for 1 month, okay? So 1 month green room membership, just 1 month, all right? There's the question or the answer. I'm not going to tell you what the answer is, obviously, but the question is, what state is Jason Clark from? You had to have paid attention on this entire show. But what state is Jason Clark from? If you're a green room member, do not answer that question. We just want to give something out to the feed for the people out there that are just kind of joining into it. So we'll see what happens. I don't know who's going to get it because I think I mentioned it right in the beginning. Oh, okay. Barry Worth got it. So College Picker, look at Barry Worth. Barry Worth, hit me up or send a message to askgreenroom@gmail.com and just say you're Barry Worth and, all this kind of stuff. We'll let you in. All right, guys. Someone said Africa, by the way. That's totally wrong.
Sourcing is rough there.
Sourcing's got to be tough, man. Okay, so guys, honestly, thank you so much for being here on the show. We had an all-star panel. We were missing Jameson, but probably he had connection issues or whatever. But I hope you did enjoy the show. Got some, shed some light, maybe a little bit of fear into you, right? Because Q4, like some of these guys said, is you got to be careful. You got to be careful. It's not every Q4 is different. I've played in. This will be my third one, right? And each one has become different in some way. I imagine this one's going to be like really crazy, but I'm still going to play in it. I'm still going to do it. Calculated risk. Everyone's got different risk tolerances. Play accordingly. I hope you enjoy this show. We'll try to have another one next month as we approach Q4 a little. Maybe we'll have some of these same members on the panel, see how they're gearing up. But hit the like button if you can, and we will see you on the next Green Room Hangout. Next week, we have a tax professional, e-commerce tax professional coming on the show. And then the Wednesday after that, we have Dumpster Marcus going to be appearing on the show as well. So that should be a lot of fun. Until then, guys, take it easy. I'm glad you guys liked the show. A bunch of good comments. You can still comment after this is over for like a couple seconds, but you got it, Craig, right? I guess that's the motivational quote of the show. You got it, Craig. You really do, man. I really want to see you succeed. Everyone wants to see you succeed. Bonafide, hit the smash button. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.